In the forests of the former Soviet Union, hidden beneath layers of earth and concrete, lies a place few dare to enter. It is not a hospital, nor a prison, but something even more secretive. A bunker, built for protection, but surrounded by shadows of fear, secrecy, and unanswered questions. Today, we descend underground into a world of darkness, where silence is broken only by dripping water and the echo of our own footsteps. This bunker was built during the Cold War, at a time when the Soviet Union prepared for the unthinkable, nuclear war. Dozens of such facilities were constructed in secrecy. They were designed to protect leaders, military officers, and, in rare cases, scientists who held the key to survival. The walls were thick, made of reinforced concrete, meters underground. The corridors stretched endlessly, lined with metal doors, control rooms, and emergency supplies. Officially, these bunkers were a symbol of safety, but for those who worked here, they became prisons of silence. Some soldiers and engineers spent months without seeing the sun, their only company the hum of ventilation systems and the paranoia of constant surveillance. After the collapse of the USSR, many of these bunkers were abandoned, and with abandonment came stories. Locals say strange lights are sometimes seen around the entrances at night. Others tell of voices echoing from deep inside, though no one lives there anymore. Some explorers reported hearing the sound of footsteps following them, only to find themselves alone. One chilling tale speaks of a group of urban explorers who entered a sealed bunker in the 1990s. They never came back. When rescuers searched, they found equipment scattered, but no bodies. The official report called it an accident, but many believe the bunker itself claimed them. Walking inside today, you are surrounded by the past. Rusting machinery still sits in place. Old control panels with buttons and switches remain frozen in time. Gas masks, torn documents, and faded Soviet posters lie scattered across the floor. The deeper you go, the colder it becomes. The air is thick, heavy, and filled with a smell of decay. Your flashlight reveals long corridors that seem endless. Every sound is amplified, your breath, your steps, and sometimes sounds you cannot explain. To some, these are just ruins, but to others, they are haunted monuments, places where history refuses to stay buried. So why do these bunkers still terrify us? Maybe because they are more than concrete and steel. They are symbols of fear, the fear of war, of death, and of the unknown. They remind us of how close humanity stood to destruction and how much remains hidden deep below the surface. Even abandoned, these bunkers feel alive. And perhaps, just perhaps, they are not as empty as they seem. But the story of these bunkers does not end in the past. Even today, new mysteries surround them. Some researchers claim that not all of these underground facilities were abandoned. A few remained sealed, guarded, hidden in restricted forests, marked only by rusting fences and warning signs. What lies beyond those locked steel doors? No one knows. There are whispers of secret archives stored inside. Others believe experimental technology was hidden there, machines that were never meant to be seen by the public. And some, more superstitious, claim that these places hold something far darker, not technology, but tragedy, sealed away forever. Explorers who dared to venture deeper often speak of strange sensations, sudden drops in temperature, even when the air above ground was warm, the feeling of being watched, though no one else was there, and sometimes the sound of metal scraping in the distance, as if the bunker itself were breathing. Those who stayed too long told of confusion, losing track of time, forgetting how to get out, even in places with only one corridor. Psychologists call it disorientation, but some insist it was the bunker's way of trapping them, pulling them further into its depths. And then there are the legends that refuse to die. One tells of an entire secret medical wing, where experiments continued long after the world believed them to be over. Another speaks of a command center, fully intact, with lights still flickering, as though someone had left only moments ago. And the most terrifying, the living bunker theory, the idea that these structures are not truly dead, but alive in some way, feeding off fear. echoing back the darkest emotions of anyone who enters. Standing inside such a place today, you cannot help but wonder, what happened here that was never written in history books? What secrets lie buried beneath concrete and steel? And why do so many who enter leave with stories of shadows and whispers they cannot explain? Perhaps the bunkers were never meant to be found again. Perhaps their silence is the only protection we still have. But as long as they remain hidden beneath the forests of the former Soviet Union, the questions will never end. Are they relics of history, or are they warnings left behind by a past that is not finished with us yet? As we move further into the darkness, the corridors seem to stretch forever. Each turn feels familiar, yet unfamiliar, as if the bunker itself is reshaping, keeping its secrets close. Shadows cling to the corners, twisting and flickering in the light of your flashlight, creating shapes that seem almost alive. Some rooms are frozen in time, desks covered in dust, with papers yellowed and brittle, tell stories of a hurried departure. Maps on the walls mark places that no longer exist in the present day, and faded instructions hint at operations whose purpose has long been forgotten. The deeper you go, the more the silence presses against you. There are moments when even breathing feels loud, intrusive. Every step echoes endlessly, making it impossible to tell if you are alone. And then, sometimes, there is a sound that cannot be explained. A faint scuff of boots, the metallic whisper of machinery, a voice carried through the walls. Legends claim that some bunkers were used for experiments that never reached the surface. Rumors speak of scientists working in sealed chambers, recording data that was deemed too dangerous or too secret for anyone else to see. What happened to them? No one knows. All that remains are the cold walls and the lingering sense of unease. In certain sections, the air grows heavy, almost suffocating. It carries with it a mixture of decay and the faint, metallic scent of rusting steel. Some explorers swear that the bunker reacts to their presence, temperatures dropping suddenly, lights flickering, doors creaking as if moved by invisible hands. The psychological effect is profound. Hours can feel like days, familiar hallways become labyrinthine mazes. Some who ventured in report a strange disorientation, time slipping away, memories of the entrance fading, a sense that the bunker itself is guiding them deeper into its heart. Stories abound of those who disappeared, not just in urban legends, but in semi-official records. Equipment left behind, notes scattered, but no trace of the people who entered. Was it the bunker, or something else that dwells within its walls? These questions remain unanswered, and yet there is a morbid fascination that draws people in. The allure of the unknown, the thrill of exploration, the hope that one might uncover a secret never before seen. Each visitor leaves changed, not always consciously, but in ways they cannot describe. Some speak of an almost sentient presence, a lingering consciousness woven into the concrete and steel. The idea that the bunker itself has absorbed the fear, the urgency, and the desperation of decades past, and now echoes it back to anyone who dares to enter. Even now, decades after the fall of the Soviet Union, there are bunkers that remain untouched, locked, hidden, and forgotten by the world above. Perhaps they were never meant to be found. Perhaps their secrets are too dangerous, too dark, to ever see the light of day. Standing in these silent halls, one cannot help but feel both insignificant and acutely aware. The weight of history presses down, and the line between past and present blurs. Every whisper of wind through a vent, every distant drip of water, becomes amplified, a reminder that the past is never truly gone. In the end, these bunkers are more than relics. They are monuments to fear, secrecy, and human ingenuity. They are warnings, reminders of a world teetering on the edge, of choices made in shadowed rooms far from the eyes of the public. And they wait, patiently, for the next curious soul to descend into the darkness, where history still breathes, still watches, and perhaps still judges. Yet, for all its silence, the bunker speaks in subtle ways. The faint hum of old ventilation systems, the occasional drip of water from cracks high above, even the way dust shifts across the floor, All of it tells a story. Stories of fear, of vigilance, of lives lived entirely underground. Some rooms seem untouched by time. Bunks neatly arranged, lockers still locked, shoes lined along the walls. It's as if the occupants vanished suddenly, leaving only traces of routines once sacred, personal belongings, notebooks, even half-finished meals, fragments of human existence preserved in concrete and shadow. Explorers who enter report a peculiar sensation, as if they are being watched, not by eyes, but by something else, an awareness embedded in the walls, a memory of every fear, every whisper, every heartbeat of the people who once roamed these corridors. The bunker remembers, and it reacts, and there are the secret passages, hidden stairwells, reinforced doors behind false panels, tunnels that branch off into darkness. Maps once used to navigate these spaces often contradict what is actually found. It is as if the bunker is a maze that shifts with every visit, designed to confuse, to test, to trap. Some of the older personnel who once worked here spoke in hushed tones about the experiments conducted deep underground. They claimed certain sections were sealed not because of danger from outside threats, but because the work inside was too volatile, too sensitive to ever be revealed. Documents were coded, devices dismantled, and yet whispers persist of what might still remain behind steel walls. Time itself behaves strangely. Hours feel like minutes, and minutes stretch into eternity. Explorers have described losing track of the sun, of seasons, even of reality itself. One corridor may feel familiar, only to reveal an exit leading nowhere. The human mind begins to falter, interpreting shadows and sounds as shapes, voices, movements. Many claim they have felt cold spots, sudden drops in temperature with no explanation. Some report hearing distant conversations, or the clang of metal footsteps when no one is there. Others describe glimpses of movement just out of the corner of their eye, vanishing when looked at directly. And yet, there is a strange allure. The bunker tempts those who enter with secrets, the hope that one might find something hidden, a file, a device, an artifact that answers a question no one has dared to ask. But every secret comes with a cost. Some return changed, haunted by things they cannot explain. Others never return at all. Legends say that certain bunkers are not entirely abandoned, that in some restricted areas, guarded chambers hold the last remnants of experiments, classified machinery, even records of events deliberately erased from history. What lies within is unknown, perhaps best left undiscovered. It is said that the bunker feeds on fear, not in a literal sense, but in the way it absorbs anxiety, dread, and the weight of history. Anyone who walks its halls becomes part of its story, leaving echoes behind, footsteps, whispers, fleeting shadows, reminders to the next visitor of what came before. For those who dare to go even deeper, some areas are completely sealed. Heavy steel doors with cryptic warnings, layers of reinforced concrete, and old locks that have never been opened since the Cold War. Only the brave, or the reckless, attempt to enter these forbidden sections. Yet, even in isolation, the bunker is alive, alive in memory, in the lingering energies of the past, in the fear it continues to inspire. And perhaps that is its most terrifying aspect. Not that it holds dangerous secrets, but that it continues to command attention, curiosity, and dread decades after its creation. As night falls above the forests, the bunkers remain silent sentinels, invisible from the surface, yet immense in their presence. They are reminders of human ingenuity, paranoia, and the fragility of civilization. And for those who stand inside, flashlight in hand, every shadow, every echo, every breath becomes a connection to a past that refuses to die. So, when you walk these corridors, take heed. The walls have seen everything. They have watched ambition, fear, and despair. And though the world above may have moved on, the bunker remains, waiting, listening, remembering, a relic of history and perhaps a warning of what we might yet become. Beyond the familiar halls, deeper in the bowels of the bunker, the darkness thickens, your flashlight flickers, and shadows dance across walls, lined with metal panels, some warped, some still etched with the names of forgotten engineers. Every corner seems to hold a secret, some benign, some unsettling. Rooms that were once operational now sit in eerie stillness. Instruments coated in decades of dust stand frozen, as though time stopped the moment the last hand left them. Small details, a pen lying on a desk, a journal slightly ajar, a cracked coffee mug, suggest lives abruptly interrupted, lives that may never have returned to the surface. Explorers often describe a feeling of being observed, not a person, not even a shadow, but a presence that is felt more than seen. The weight of countless footsteps, long past, seems to press on your shoulders. You realize that these corridors are more than concrete and steel. They are repositories of human emotion, fear, tension, hope, desperation. There are sections where the temperature drops suddenly. Frost forms along the edges of metal doors. Your breath hangs heavy in the air, and each sound, a creak, a distant drip, the rustle of debris, feels amplified, almost alive. In these moments, the bunker is no longer a building. It is an organism, quietly observing, quietly waiting. Many speak of hidden chambers, sealed off with reinforced doors and locks that have not been opened for decades. Rumors say these rooms contained highly classified projects. Experiments with technology are revealed to the public, secret archives of military operations, and research that defied ethical boundaries. What happened to the people who worked here? Their presence lingers, not in body, but in memory embedded in the very walls. The psychological toll is immense. Hours stretch into days. Hallways that seem straightforward twist and turn unexpectedly. Familiar rooms appear in unfamiliar places. Explorers recount moments where the exit is forgotten, the way back lost. One begins to question not just direction, but reality itself. Shadows morph, sounds echo strangely, and time seems to bleed into itself. Some claim to hear whispers, not words, but tones of fear, of caution, as if the bunker itself is speaking in a language older than any human voice. Others have felt a sudden shift in air pressure, a cold hand of panic that has no source. It is subtle, yet undeniable. The bunker tests the mind, layer by layer, memory by memory. Urban legends speak of those who disappeared within these walls. Some left journals behind, hastily written notes warning others not to follow. Equipment left scattered in rooms tell stories of abrupt departure. Were they victims of accidents? Did they wander too far, lost in the shifting corridors? Or was it something else, a force that the bunker itself embodies, silently claiming those who trespass too boldly? Yet, despite the danger, the allure remains. The bunker calls to the curious, the brave, the reckless. Each visitor hopes to uncover a secret, a relic, a story lost to history. But every discovery comes with unease. A flickering light, a sudden echo, an object moved when no one is near. The place reminds you that you are never truly alone. Even the architecture itself seems designed to confuse. Stairwells spiral into nowhere, doors open to empty rooms, and hallways converge in impossible angles. Maps once created to navigate these spaces no longer align. Some speculate that the builders intended this to safeguard secrets by making the bunker itself a maze, where only those with extreme determination or luck could survive unharmed. And there are legends of the living bunker, not merely a metaphor, but an idea that the structure has absorbed the fear and energy of all who ever worked or wandered within. It is said to feed on uncertainty, amplifying the anxieties of anyone inside. The longer one stays, the more real these sensations become, until mind and environment blur together. Certain sections remain completely off limits. Rusted warning signs, barricades, and the weight of secrecy prevent casual exploration. Researchers and former personnel hint at rooms with highly sensitive equipment, classified research, or remnants of Cold War operations that should never be exposed. What lies behind those locked doors may alter one's understanding of history, or destroy it entirely. Walking back toward the entrance, the mind struggles to reconcile what has been seen. Dusty control panels, corridors that stretch endlessly, the faint echoes of the past, all create a lingering impression, even after leaving. Some claim they feel a presence, a quiet reminder that the bunker's story continues, even without new footsteps. Ultimately, these bunkers are more than relics of a bygone era. They are living memories, testaments to human ingenuity, fear, and the unknown. They remind us of the precariousness of safety, the fragility of life, and the weight of secrecy. And as long as they remain, hidden beneath forests and soil, they will continue to whisper, to watch, and to endure. Some say that if you listen closely, the bunker remembers everything. Every hurried footstep, every whispered command, every sigh of exhaustion from decades ago. It carries them all. And sometimes, when the night is deep and the forest outside is silent, you can hear echoes of these moments, faint but unmistakable, as if the past itself refuses to be forgotten. There are stories of explorers who felt compelled to return, again and again, drawn by something unseen. Each visit changes them, a subtle shift in perception, an unease that follows them long after leaving. It is as if the bunker leaves a mark, a memory encoded in the mind of anyone who dares to walk its halls. Some chambers are said to be untouched since the Cold War, steel doors sealed, lights long extinguished, documents still in their original files. It is a preservation not of comfort or order, but of secrets, some of which may never be understood. Each object tells a story, but only fragments, leaving the rest to the imagination, to fear, and to speculation. The deeper sections, rumored to house the most sensitive experiments, are virtually impossible to access. Those who have tried speak of strange phenomena, disorienting hallways, sudden drops in temperature, inexplicable noises, and shadows that move on their own. Many leave without explanation, shaken by experiences that cannot be described rationally. And yet, these spaces are compelling. They embody curiosity and terror in equal measure, the thrill of discovery, the danger of the unknown, and the whisper of secrets just beyond reach. All of it creates a pull that is hard to resist. That every step comes with risk, every turn a test, every shadow a reminder that the past may still be watching. In some legends, the bunkers are said to be alive, not in a literal sense, but in the way they carry the weight of history. Fear, anticipation, and secrecy seem to cling to the walls, etched into the steel and concrete, echoing back at anyone who ventures inside. Some claim that the longer one stays, the more the bunker communicates, not with words, but with sensations, images, and sounds that defy logic. When leaving, there is a sense of relief, but also a lingering question. What remains inside? What stories, what secrets, what memories are still trapped behind those cold walls? And perhaps, more unsettlingly, what has the bunker learned from you? From the footsteps you leave behind, the fear you felt, the curiosity you carried. These bunkers, long abandoned and hidden beneath forests, are more than structures. They are monuments to the unknown, to human ambition and fear, to choices made in silence and shadows. And as long as they remain, there will always be those drawn to them, those seeking answers, thrills, or perhaps just a brush with history that refuses to stay buried. In the end, whether they are relics of a past era or warnings of the dangers that curiosity can awaken, one thing is certain: the bunkers endure, and as the forest grows above them and the world moves on, they wait, patient, silent, and eternal, for the next story, the next explorer, and the next echo to be added to their endless memory.